right, Algebra 1, we are getting ready for our Chapter 9 test, which is solving quadratics. So this is part 1 of our review. We're going to go through the whole review here together, and then tomorrow you're going to work on your own review. Okay, so in this first question, we're kind of just graphing what we are trying to solve, and then we're going to solve it by quadratic formula and factoring as well. Okay, but we got to go back to our steps to graphing, which the first step is always axis of symmetry. So remember, the formula for the axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. Okay, so I'm going to have to use that to find the vertex, graph the function by plugging in to get other numbers, state the domain and range, whether it opens up or down, and then if it's a maximum or a minimum, and then find the solutions using factoring and quadratic formula. So looking at our first problem here, since I want to find the axis of symmetry, first I need to know a, b, and c. And there they are. A is 1, b is 8, c is 12. So x equals negative 8 over 2 times a, which is 1. And so I've got negative 8 is going to be negative 8 over 2, which is negative 4. So, since negative 4 is my axis of symmetry, that's also going to be my first x value. Okay? And so, negative 4, we also have negative 3, negative 2, negative 5, negative 6 around it. And now, I'm just basically plugging in to find our answer. So, when I plug into here, I'm going to go x squared is parentheses squared plus 8 parentheses plus 12. Okay, so my vertex is going to be negative 4, plugged in. All right, so I've got negative 4 squared, and I'm just kind of typing this in, remember. So when I type this into my calculator, we have negative 4 squared, and then plus 8 times negative 4, and then plus 12. And I get negative 4. Okay, so negative 4 for my answer. All right, and then, so what I'm going to do now is plot my vertex. So negative 4 is going to be right here, and that's also going to be where my axis of symmetry is. Oops, try that again. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm splitting it up. And now I'm just going to replace the negative 4 with the other numbers I want to plug in. So instead of negative 4, I'm going to do negative 3 now. So in my calculator, I'm going negative 3 this time. And I get negative 3. Okay, and since it's symmetrical, it goes on both sides. And then now I just do negative 2. Okay, so on my calculator, type it in the same equation, but this time negative 2, and I get 0. Okay, so 0 there, 0 there. Okay, so when I start to plot this, I've got negative 3 is right here, and symmetrical right here. Negative 2 zeros right here, and symmetrical is right here. And so now I've got my parabola looking something like this. Okay, so I've graphed it. Now I want to answer all these questions. Opens up or down? Well, clearly it's opening up. Is the vertex a maximum or a minimum? Well, since it's the bottom of the parabola, that's a minimum in that case. Axis of symmetry, we already said, was negative 4. The vertex is negative 4. Domain and range, I'm not too worried about, but the domain for all of these is going to be all real numbers every time. And then the range is just y is what? compared to in the graph. So the y in this case doesn't go below -4, so y is greater than or equal to -4. And then our solutions are where does it cross the x-axis? And those two x values are -2 and I'm going to do x equals. So x equals -2 and x equals -4, or -6, sorry. And there we go. And you know that because those are the 2 points, or you know that because that's where the y is 0. Okay? So that's graphing. And now we're going to do the same thing, but with the quadratic formula, and we should get the same answers. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite my equation down here just so I don't have to keep looking back up here. All right, so if that's my equation, I've got a is 1, b is 8, c is 12. So if I'm using my quadratic formula, I've got x equals -b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. All of that over 2 times a. And so I'm just plugging in here. So I've got 8 for b, ac is 1 and 12, and then a is 1. So now I'm just going to go one thing at a time. -8, and then I'm going to type all this in the calculator. So 8 squared minus 4 times 12. So 8, so this is going to be parentheses 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 12. And I get 16. So 16 all over 2 times 1, which is 2. And I know the square root of 16 is 4, so I've got -8 plus or minus 4 over 2. And now, at this point, this is when I want to go ahead and split it up into my 2 parts. So -8 plus 4 is -4 divided by 2. -8 minus 4 is -12 divided by 2. And so I end up with -2 there and -6 there. And there's my 2 answers. -2, x equals -6, just like we had before. There we go. And so the last method is by factoring. So if I, again, have y equals x squared plus 8x plus 12, to factor it, I'm just basically, first of all, setting it equal to 0 instead of y. And so it's x squared plus 8x plus 12 equals 0. And then I'm using whatever method I want to use. So in this case, since it's a trinomial, I go 1 times 12 is 12. What 2 factors of 12 give me 8? 1 and 12, that doesn't work. 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And so 2 and 6 are the only ones that give me 8. And so I'm going to use the shortcut, x plus 2, x plus 6 equals 0. But I'm not done because it's equal to 0. I set each of these equal to 0 separately. So x plus 2 equals 0, x plus 6 equals 0. And then I solve. So for the first one, x equals -2. And for the second one, x equals -6. And there we go. -2 and -6. All right? And so on the back side, we're basically doing that same thing, but we are using the quadratic formula each time. So in this case, I've got 1, 4, and -12. So x equals -4 plus or minus square root of 4 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, c, which is -12. All of that over 2 times a, which is 1. And so as I go through, -4, under the radical I have 4 squared is 16 minus 4 times -12, which is 64, all over 2. I know the square root of 64 is 8, so negative 4 plus or minus 8 divided by 2, and that's when I split. So negative 4 plus 8 is 4, and negative 4 minus 8 is negative 12. And that gives me my two answers, negative 2, or negative 6, and positive 2. Okay. So on the next one, got to get it equal to 0 first. So I subtract 3x, and for standard form, I want x in the middle. So it's 2x squared minus 3x minus 9 equals 0. And so a is 2, b is negative 3, c is negative 9. So in this case, I'm going x equals negative b squared. So in that case, negative 3. Plus or minus square root of negative 3 squared minus 4 times a, which is 2, c, which is negative 9. All of that over 2 times a, which is 2. Okay, so in this case, negative times negative is positive 3, plus or minus square root of 3 squared is 9, and then that's going to be plus 72, which is 81. And so all that's divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. I know the square root of 81 is 9. And so now I'm ready to split it up. 3 plus 9 is 12 divided by 4, which is 3. And then 3 minus 9, which is negative 6 divided by 4, which is negative 1.5. And decimals are again just fine. So x equals 3, x equals 1.5. All right, and then the last one we have negative, or positive 2x squared minus 15x plus 37. So I'm going to subtract 9 to get it equal to 0 first. I have 2x squared minus 15x plus 28 equals 0. And so in this case, I've got a is 2, b is negative 15, c is 28. So in this case, I've got x equals negative 15 plus or minus negative 15 squared minus 4 times a, which is 2, c, which is 28. All of that over 2 times a, which is 2. And so, one by one, I've got positive 15 plus or minus. That's 15 squared minus 4 times a times c. So I get 1 there over 2 times 2 is 4. And so in this case, I've got the square root of 1 is just 1 over 4. So split it up. I've got 15 plus 1 is 16 divided by 4. 15 minus 1 is 14 divided by 4. And so I've got 4 for one answer, and then that's going to be 3.5 for my other answer. And there's my two answers. X equals 4, x equals 3.5. And there you go. So we'll practice this stuff some more, and just make sure you bring this tomorrow, and I'll be checking for completion. Peace.